Hey, this is Mickey G. Welcome to this edition of Old Fools Talking Old School, where today we talk about the current political landscape, playing the games, doing your own homework, and trust but verify. Using the DOJ and all this stuff about the FBI, and then, of course, that crazy one up there to Cincinnati and tried to
Ain't that something?
break it. But the thing, and this was a former, I think, Navy guy.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah, he was a former Navy guy. And the thing that gets me was he show up with an AR-15 and a nail gun. I don't quite understand that armament.
I think he might have got stuck in a submarine once or twice and deprived of oxygen and shit, because that's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, you just can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I just, it boggles my mind sometimes how, and it's not, I ain't gonna say just, politics. I ain't gonna just say it's just politics, but how a person can get so wrapped up into a person or a thing in their life to where, I look at that Jim Jones thing, all the people that were just totally devoted to him. You look at Charles Manson and his group, and even though, I know there are people in some of these situations that do have some mental issues, I understand that, but I just don't know if I could ever get so caught up in a person. And, and I look at, at my life, I love my wife to death, but I don't think I could ever be so irrationally, I can look at it in love with my wife or anybody else. Well, I just can't. I lose all common sense and all focus and things of that nature. That sort of boggles my mind as much as anything else. I look at people, whether it's a presidential candidate or my neighbor next door. You're another human just like I am. What's so special about you that I'm going to go out and just be mesmerized by you? I just don't see myself ever being that kind of person. I don't know, but it seemed like some of these folks just, for whatever reason, are just so caught up in people. And I look at some of these Trump supporters that I'm thinking, where's your sense of self determination? Where is your sense of self that you are so caught up in this one person? I don't know. Maybe it just ain't for me to see.
Trump is stupid, but the thing that he's got going for him is that he's got that hardcore right-wing Republicans who've always wanted to do this, and they just found him a dumbass that they put out front that can take advantage of. Because, just like all the stuff people say, well, Trump did this. Trump ain't got sense enough. You don't even know that there's three branches of damn government. It's those people that are sitting behind him. He's a damn puppet. He's just doing what he's told. And anybody that can't figure out the reason he wanted nuclear secrets, because he was going to sell them to the highest bidder. That's exactly what he was going to do. And now they're even creating it out for him, talking about, well, he declassified it before. He can't just arbitrarily declassify anything, And it's just, the more I listen to it, the stupider it gets. And so that's why I kind of disassociate myself with it. And
you almost have to. Because it, as Rosa says, it defies logic. So how can you find anything logical about it?
Right.
So you almost, and I guess I always just go back to the fact of it's politics. To me, politics is almost not real life. It's a whole world of its own, and I don't care who you are. I don't care what you say out on the campaign trail or what you're going to do and all those kind of things. When you get there, you have a whole another set of agenda, because you got to pay back those people that got you there.
Thank you.
And I'm not talking about the people who went and voted for you. I'm talking about the people who, lined your campaign coffers and gave you money, those kind of things. So that's why I say I just never get, so caught up into it that I try to say, well, the Democrats, they never lie. They always do the right thing. No, it's politics. They all do that,
Oh yeah, man. Got this dude down here running for the Republican Senate to be a part of the delegation from Oklahoma. Name is Mark Wayne Mullen. Oh my God, give me a break. He owns a plumbing company. Every time I see one of them trucks, I'm like, I ought to run that motherfucker. He's Trump. He's a Trump supporter. He's going to Washington and fight to live. Like, your ass gonna be so far down the totem pole if you win. Oh, and he's running against this fool again. That brother I told you that they jumped up and had him to run for governor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, he didn't appear out of woodwork now. He's running against Mark Wayne. He also claiming to be a Trump disciple. TJ Shannon. And I'm like, you stupid. Good God Almighty. Don't talk to me about Black Lives Matter until he's pointing at an abortion clinic. Till you do something about these Black lives. Get your country ass out the way. Yeah. I'm like, all right. Commercials or campaign or nothing. Everything here is Republican.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it is too. It's the same way here. You know, I didn't even know who the Democratic candidate for governor was till they had the elections, and he's a doctor out of Nashville, but there was a black guy from Memphis that was running against him, and I mean for the Democratic nominee, but I didn't even know who it was because it's such a high Republican state. As a matter of fact, the people locally, I guess they got smart. If you look at the ballot for like county commission, city commission, things like that, you got Republicans and independents. There was like one Democrat because people know in this area you put a D beside your name, you ain't gonna win nothing.
Right.
So I've never seen as many independent candidates in an election ever in my life. I mean, like I say, if there was 40 candidates for office, you know, there was probably 20 Republicans, 19 independents, and one Democrat.
Well, damn.
You know, I have never seen that. And even this one black lady that I thought was a Democrat, you know, her dad was the first city councilman in the city. They had a funeral home here and everything, and they're well known. I've always thought she was a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I looked at the election results and everything. She's an independent.
Man.
So I'm like, I said, I guess she realizes, you know, you can only go so far if you put that D beside your name. But yeah, I never knew that she was an independent. And I don't know how they do independent. I think I told you that time where the Republican Party here threw a couple of candidates out that wanted to run as Republicans because they said that they didn't show a history of voting Republicans and whatever those things that they look at. So I don't know if they do the same thing for independents, or you can just say you're independents and that's it. You know, I don't know how that works, but yeah, that's what they've done around here. They've become independents versus a lot of them, I think, really are Democrats, because if you really was a true Republican, you would have no problem being a Republican.
Right.
You know, that ain't a problem. So I think they're sort of Democrats in disguise that know they ain't gonna have a chance at all if they run truly as a Republican. I mean, as a Democrat.
Yeah, it's amazing how it is, man. And slight other people. You know, you want to sit up and talk about. My favorite one is in this country you can be whatever you want to be. No, I beg to differ. You can say that. Work hard. Well, black folks ain't never had no problem working hard. Been working hard our whole damn life. It don't get you what you get working half-assed. So it's all a sham, and they think people are gullible and would believe that kind of crap. You know, like, man, oh, don't you? My old boss said that to me one time. Aren't you proud to be from this country and where you can be what you want to be? Well, not necessarily.
I mean, to me, it's always been almost like a catchphrase. You know, those you know, you can be whatever you want to be and things of that nature. And it's, you know, I guess there's nothing wrong with trying to inspire, especially if it's, young kids or things of that nature, try to give them that idea that they can. But sometimes it's almost like, setting them up for failure, because, it's, well, Dad, I want to be a doctor. Well, okay, you can be a doctor. Well, no, not everybody can be a doctor.
Right.
I mean, you gotta realize, you gotta, the avenues are there. I mean, I think, if I was trying to phase it, I'd say the avenues are there for you to be whatever you want to be. They're there, but not everybody can go down that road. It's just that's just not practical to think those kind of things.
Well,
But
I agree with you, but my thing of it is, and my aspect of it is because everybody ain't geared to be what they want to be, and it's what you're saying. But what I'm saying is, you're going to stop me because I have the ability, but you're going to stop me because of the complexion of my skin, and that's the whole key. And then that glass ceiling. They always talk about
mhm.
women's glass ceiling. What about the glass ceiling for black men? If you whatever you ascend to, for the most part, you're going to ascend to be somebody's assistant. You know, and even the best definition of that is, well, I ain't gonna say it's the best, but what we do a lot, we're in the game and don't know the rules. And when you don't know the rules, you ain't worth a quarter.
Mm-mm.
You know, and that ain't right. They oughta. That ain't what the law is.
Yeah.
What they ought to do. No,
Yeah, that's just, like my old saying. But people say, I ain't playing the game. Well, okay, don't play the game, because the game gonna play you.
that's right.
You don't play the game is gonna play you.
And the game ain't
You
gonna
got
miss you.
no. And that's why I always say, I mean, you gotta know the games. You gotta know the games, because it's gonna affect you one way or the other. And if you could be part of it and try to influence how it affects you,
Right.
I'd rather do that and sit back and let whatever comes, because you don't know what's coming.
That's right. Especially if you ain't participating, you gonna have
Right.
to deal with whatever comes because you ain't.
Whatever comes, that's what you're going to have to deal with. You're exactly right. At least I'd like to have the satisfaction of knowing, well, I tried my part. I went
Yes,
out and I campaigned, or I went out and made my voice known, or whatever it may be. But if not, if you just sit back, well, yeah, you just take whatever comes your way.
yeah, that's it. That's what you are, a bystander.
Yeah, yeah. Whatever
So,
comes your way, that's what you're going to end up with.
so we definitely have to get more sophisticated, but I don't know. People don't seem to have no interest. For one of the things, I used to hate hearing older people talk about back in the day, but now I'm just like them. I remember when people cared about one another in our community. I remember back when everybody got on the same page in the mid to late '60s. I had my little grown ass up in the meetings. Didn't always know what was going on, but hey, you know how we were. Hell, if there's a group of people, something going on, there's a party or something going on. You know, and they used to have them community meetings.
Right, right,
Folks get in there and get to talking, and everybody could be on one accord. Well, that's what it takes, and that's what all the other groups do. Jewish groups do it, the gay people do it, and back then, that's what we did. The little strides that we got, that was the result of people being activists and being back there and getting on one accord, and pulling in those who don't know and didn't want to know, but you had to know because they made sure you knew.
right,
You
right.
know, and now all these people care about is themselves. Ain't nobody on the same accord because and the majority of the community know exactly what to do. If you got somebody who happens to come along and has that charisma and has that knowledge and has the power to galvanize people, they're gonna pull him into the tent because he's a threat.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna
Mm-hmm.
pull him in like we're gonna get him, but as opposed to before, they would kill him. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. You know, if they didn't kill him, they incarcerated him. So now they pull him in the tent. And I ain't saying this about him because I'm a big fan of Al Sharpton, but Al Sharpton has been somewhat pulled in the tent. They done made him a journalist, but he still says it like it is. I'm an Al fan. All these people that don't like him, that's their prerogative. But when Al speaks, they listen. And I had this one dude tell me he only shows up, when I forget what he was saying. It was dumb anyway. I said he only shows up when people ask him to come. And I said, and then when he comes, that legitimizes it because he knows his stuff. You're sitting up here talking about him, but you're gonna miss him when he's gone. Because who's there now that's gonna speak up? And my, this guy I know is talking about, man, he just wants the publicity. I said, no, he doesn't. He don't want the publicity. He's fighting for the little man. And on top of that, if something happened in your family, you'd be the first one to want him to come and stand up for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you won't even donate to his National Action Network. I said, do you think he's a superhero flying around looking for stuff and then swoop down? And that takes money. You want him to come here and march and do all that other stuff, but you wouldn't even offer him a room in your house. Nobody's out here just doing that off the seat of their pants. I said, but he does a whole lot for the black community. But like I said, ain't nobody there. Jesse's gone. He ain't dead, but he gone.
Yeah, I saw him at that Arbery trial. Well, not the trial, but the trial for his killers. When they had that, violating his civil rights. Jesse was there. Poor thing. I felt so sorry for him. I know he's got some serious medical issues going on now, but at least he was there.
He was there.
He was there
for whatever political clout he could swing. He was still swinging.
Yeah.
But when you got those old civil rights people like that, who white people like to call them race baiters, and then you got some of these Negroes calling them race baiters. Race baiters, they just call them like what it is. And but these folks gonna find out when he's not around. Who's gonna be speaking up then? I mean, I appreciate what the new lawyer that seems to be every time some civil rights come up, but hell, I can barely understand what he's saying.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. I said, that person these days seems to be Ben Crump.
Yeah, Ben Crump.
He shows up at all those kind of events and things of that nature. But I think just like you said, he's got that. People have noticed him, I guess, is what they have noticed him. They have noticed him, the fact that he gets results. And I'm the same way. If something happened to a member of my family, that's probably who I'd reach out to too.
Yeah,
exactly. He's been in that high profile limelight and stuff. So he knows, the stage is not too big for him.
That's right.
But but there's people who started to say the same thing about him. Let there be a police involved shooting or some of that nature. Who the first person you see? Ben Crump. But I always mess with Tamara about it. That time he was on. Which is which is it? Good Morning America that Hoda Kotb's on.
Yeah.
Good Morning. She was interviewing him on Good Morning America. This was back a few years ago. I forgot which involved shooting with George Floyd or which one it was. But anyway, he was on there and she said, Ben, can you tell us sort of about what happened? He said, Huda, they shot that boy. And I'm like, Huda. I said, Ben, it's Hoda. It's not Huda.
Yeah.
But anyway, she came back and then she went back to him again and said, Ben, can you tell us a little bit more now? Yeah, Huda, they shot. I'm like, Huda. Somebody tell Ben the woman's name is Hoda.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's sort of where Jesse and Al were back in the day a little bit. You know,
exactly.
They were there on the front line, and they had enough clout to where they got people's attention. But there was a lot of people that looked at it just like that. Well, they only show up when something's happened. You know, well, yeah, that's why they're there. Something happened.
Yeah, exactly. You know, there's always ways to counteract that, and I know everybody ain't always in a position to do that, but sometimes you gotta take that chance. I know my old boss one time was gonna tell me, because what they consider dressing nice, again, pair of slacks, polo shirt, and some shoes. Well, you're always dressed. Well, I was thinking about having you go to all the meetings to represent the agency, uh, because you know a lot of times meetings pop up at the last minute, and you're always dressed. I was like, okay. I said, well, give me some money, or why don't y'all dress appropriately and come in here so you be ready?
That would probably be cheaper too.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of giving me some money, why don't you dress the way you should? Then you go and save that money. Yeah.
But see, she was trying to be a butthole, and was trying to put a bunch of stuff on me, and I'd always throw it right back at her. I said, no, tell your office manager down there to do it. You know, and because I dress just decently. It ain't no nothing but a pair of pants and a pair of Dockers and a polo shirt and some shoes. That's minimal. And but you always dress so nice. So I was thinking about asking you to take those meetings on. I said, I got enough to do. So y'all. I said, but my old first thing was, what kind of compensation is coming along with that? That's the first thing. And then I said, well, why don't y'all dress? Be ready for it. I ain't hear nothing else. But I'm like, yeah, I'll go over there, but don't come asking me for a report that I was doing when you got me going to the meeting wasn't nothing. You just go there and say who you are and what agency you're representing. You ain't doing nothing. You know, just sitting there, a bunch of folks loving to talk. I'm like, I could be doing some work. So, but that's how they are.
Yeah, because I mean, I was the same way. I would go sit in on some of those meetings. I learned early on that it ain't like you got to be an Einstein when you go into those meetings. If it's something that I didn't know, I just say, well, let me take that back to the office and I'll get you an answer. Yeah. I ain't gonna try to sit up there and bullshit people when I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't want to be looking like Boo Boo the Fool. Oh, okay, yeah. I remember, they were talking about that. Let me take that back and get an answer for you, because most of the time it ain't something they got to know the answer right now.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Let me go back to the office and make sure I get the right answer. Okay. No problem. But it's all in the way that you present yourself.
There it is.
Because I've seen people in these meetings who feel like just because someone asked them a question, they've got to give an answer. Mm-hmm. And they've given an answer, and you said to yourself, "That ain't nowhere near the damn truth."
Exactly.
So why are you lying just to say something? Just say you don't know. I mean, people will respect it. You're sitting in for your boss, so probably you don't know all the things that your boss should know. You got other programs you're running. So I didn't try to blow people away with, he knows all the stuff. No, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I will go back and get you an answer.
That's it. But they lie so smooth, boy. It's just like, I'll be damned. That shit lied. That rolled off his tongue so easy. It wasn't even funny. I'm like, man. Yeah, but I'm like you.
It's like my uncle was telling me when he was in the Air Force. He said he had this guy that was over him. I think he said he was a staff. This guy was like a master sergeant. Of course, back in them days, master sergeants were like God. He said that guy would come in, these young airmen, these young lieutenants, and all would come in and ask him something. He said, well, and of according to Air Force Regulation 6634, you got to go. And he said the guy would leave and he'd come back and he said, he'd ask him, he said, now, where is that at again? He said, man, that regulation don't exist. But it sounded good. Nobody questioned it because when you can rattle off numbers, according to Air Force Regulation, blah, 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 everybody thought he said, they don't exist. He said, he said, they're not going to go back and look. They're going to take my word for it because it sounded, like you say, it sounded good.
That's right. That's right. Don't read that reg or that whatever it is yourself, because either they interpreted it wrong or they heard what they wanted to hear.
Yeah. And if nothing else, then for your own knowledge.
For your own knowledge.
I'm the same way too. I mean, I appreciate the fact that you tell me and you're giving me the right scoop on things, but I'm going to go check it out for myself.
Yes, indeed.
Just to make sure.
It could be just one line in there that changes the whole context of the deal, but you take it the way you want it to fit your narrative. I'm like, no, I need to have clear understanding of what it's saying. And that's what I told my son. Don't. You got some people out there try to set you up. Tell you something to get you in a dire strait.
Mm-hmm. Or tell you only part of it, so that you go off thinking, well, that's the full answer. And then, like you say, you end up getting your own self jacked up because you only got part of the information.
Yep.
It didn't tell you this other part, did it? So you got to be careful. That's what I always did when I was in my last job. I used to tell people, I said, I can tell you the answer right now. I said, but I'm going to give you my source for the answer. That way it ain't what Mickey Gwynn said, it's what the regulation said. And I'll always try to do that in everything that I did. I said, I'm going to tell you the answer, but I'm also going to tell you where that answer is, so you can go and read it for yourself. Because I said, you can't always go on what somebody says. Things change. You listen because somebody else told you that's the way it was. You never went and checked it out for yourself, only to find out, well, no, that actually wasn't the way that was.
Right.
Or way the regulation was written. So I always try to do that. I used to just do that sometimes just to almost refresh myself. Now I know that's the way it's supposed to be, or that's the answer. But I said, let me go back and read that again just to make sure that my mind ain't playing tricks with me, kind of thing.
Exactly.
So I used to do that just for my own knowledge. I'd go back and read it again just to say, okay, my mind ain't playing tricks with me. That's exactly what it says.
And also because shit changes. Stuff changes, and not everything gets updated as quickly as need be. So I definitely go in and change it. I just believe in it. I always tell people, I quote Ronald Reagan. I said, I wasn't no Reagan fan, but he said one thing that I live by since the first time I heard it in the military. It's like, trust but verify. And that's what I do. I'll trust you, but I'm going to go verify it just in case.
I think you have to do that. Like I say, it may not be because somebody's trying to jack you up. It was just, like I say, sometimes you just forgot exactly what it said, or you misinterpreted, like you said yourself, or whatever. You got to do those things, because I look at it, if you don't do those things, you get jacked up, you have nobody to blame but yourself. Because you're the one that's going to go down. Because that Rodney told me so kind of stuff ain't gonna cut it.
No.
You should have went and found out for yourself. So I always try to do those things. I try to go out and find the answer for myself, and then I say, okay, what he told me was right. Here it is, right here.
And that also gives me fuel for know if I'm going to listen to your ass ever again about anything.
Or at least know that I'll listen to you, but I'm damn sure gonna go out and verify it. I'll listen to you. Yeah, okay, really, okay, all right, thanks, man.
Yeah,
I go out and verify.
that's it.
Yeah, trust but verify. No truer words have ever been spoken. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Old Fools Talking Old School.